President Trump's longtime personal attorney, Michael Cohen, is scheduled to testify before Congress this week while the president is in Vietnam. Cohen has pleaded guilty to lying to Congress, as well as campaign finance violations related to hush money payments to women who allegedly had affairs with the president. He's set to begin a 3-year prison term in May. So CBS News Washington correspondent Paula Reid is at the White House now to talk a little bit more about this. Paula, what can we expect from Michael Cohen's testimony this week? I, for one, I'm really looking forward to it.
Me too, and he will testify 3 times this week. 2 of those appearances will be in private session. They will occur behind closed doors, but then on Wednesday, he will testify publicly in a much anticipated hearing. Now, lawmakers from both parties say first and foremost, they want to ask Cohen why he lied last time he testified before Congress, and they want to know if the president directed him to do so. Now, President Trump has dismissed Cohen as a liar and not a credible witness. Now, Cohen has admitted, as you just said, to lying to Congress, and he's about to head to jail for 3 years in May.
So then what sort of possible legal challenges could his testimony pose for the president?
Several. First and foremost, he will not be discussing the special counsel investigation into Russian meddling in the 2016 campaign in his public hearing. He may, however, discuss that with congressional investigators in those behind closed door sessions. But there are still plenty of hot topics to grill him about, and lawmakers intend to ask him about the president's business practices, about the president's foundation, about these hush money payments, and of course these threats. Cohen says that the president was trying to intimidate him and his family by making threats against them. Now, all of his testimony about any of those issues, that will give a lot of fodder to House Democrats, who have vowed to investigate the president and use their subpoena power pretty aggressively over the next few months and years.
And I know amongst the reasons why Cohen will be testifying sort of privately, for at least in front of 2 of these committees, is because he's still working, as I understand it, with special counsel Robert Mueller. So we've learned that the investigation into the Russian election meddling is expected, the report is expected to be released at least after this week. There was some, discussion about possibly we might see it this week. It looks like that timeline is being pushed back. Or do we know what's up with the timeline?
Well, Anne-Marie, my reporting has been that we still expect special counsel Robert Mueller's final report in the next several weeks. We expect it to come before Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein departs the Justice Department. He is, of course, the one who appointed special counsel Robert Mueller, and he has overseen the investigation for the past 20 or so months. Now, there were reports that it could have been released as soon as last Friday, but the Justice Department came out and issued a very rare statement assuring folks that they did not expect to receive that report until at least the beginning of next week. So we continue to wait and watch.
We certainly do. We also want to ask you about an interview that Seth Doane did with Steve Bannon. Steve Bannon is in Italy. He's there for the Vatican Summit on sexual abuse. Bannon was on Face the Nation, and he asked him about the Mueller report. Here's what he had to say.
I was someone that told the president many times that he should not fire James Comey. That I thought that this collusion investigation was a lot of nonsense and was going to come to naught. Now, I happen to think that the President of the United States, he had full rights and authority to fire Comey. I think you'll see a lot of stuff in the Mueller report. I believe that it'll deal with potential obstruction of justice, and I think it'll come down to decisions that people will think whether the President of the United States, as chief law enforcement officer, has the rights to make those decisions or not. But I've been pretty adamant that the collusion thing to me was always essentially a nothing burger, and that the Comey investigation should have just played out.
So he thinks obstruction might be the issue that plagues the president. What do you make of what Bannon had to say?
I think he's pretty spot on. So far, there is no evidence, nothing in my reporting to indicate that the president or anyone else will be charged with conspiracy, or as people like to call it, collusion, or working with Russia to help the president in the election. But of course, half a dozen of the president's close associates have been charged in this investigation. 5 of them have pleaded guilty and are actively cooperating, but those are on charges sort of unrelated specifically to the issue of collusion. But there is another investigation the special counsel is pursuing, which is into whether the president or anyone else tried to obstruct this investigation. And I think Steve Bannon is right on that this could be something where the president is vulnerable. Now, he tries to dismiss the idea that the president didn't have the authority to fire FBI Director Comey. I think a lot of legal scholars would agree with him, Anne-Marie. But the obstruction investigation goes far beyond the firing of James Comey. They're also looking into comments the president made to his former attorney general, things he said to the former deputy FBI director, and also comments that he's made to witnesses in this investigation, sort of dangling the idea of pardons before people like Paul Manafort, which of course de-incentivized people to cooperate with the investigation. So I do think his assessment, it's spot on.
Very interesting. Well, I cannot wait to hear what Michael Cohen has to say. And of course, we are all eagerly awaiting the outcome of the Mueller investigation. Paula, thank you so much.